Hey folks, David here, TexasHornsFans.com. So Texas escapes Lubbock 63-56. It took a miracle in overtime, onside kick, late touchdowns, but they hold that winning streak in Lubbock. Last time Texas lost in Lubbock was the Michael Crabtree catch in 2008. But holding that winning streak, but another close one, another crazy game in Lubbock. Weird stuff happens up there, so let's talk about it, and then definitely don't forget to drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. Okay, so my overall kind of thoughts about the setting for this game. Obviously, first game of the Big 12, coming off of a bye week, but coming right at the end of an Oklahoma loss to Kansas State, right? So crazy stuff has already happened in the first 2 weeks in this conference. This conference is wide open for the taking. I think the national reputation of the conference has definitely suffered, and now with the Big Ten starting their play in October, and then also the Pac-12 following suit and throwing its hat into the ring with a 7-game schedule, you all of a sudden now have a coast-to-coast national stage where, if whoever hangs on to win in this conference, even if they go undefeated, may have a tough time with passing the eyeball test for the college football playoff. So those were kind of my thoughts heading into this game, thinking, okay, Texas really is set up to handle business on the road in Tech, come back to Austin against TCU, and then to Dallas against Oklahoma. But obviously the Texas Tech team that we saw against Houston Baptist, beating them by 2 points, but really holding off kind of a late rally by Houston Baptist. I think they only had like maybe 10 points in the first half. But we got the Texas Tech offense that I think we thought they were. Alan Bowman, I think, looked really good for the most part. Yeah, we picked him off a couple of times, a couple of bad throws that he had, but that was his first time facing Texas because he's been injured. And then their receivers are legit, right? Vasher had an awesome game, TJ Vasher. I think all three of their top three receivers are legit threats in this conference. So, I think we got the offense that we thought Texas Tech was, and it was just going to be a test for the Texas defense, and they failed that test. So we'll talk about that. We'll look at some specific plays that I thought we'll kind of break them down, and that I thought really showed that some weaknesses and some strengths for Texas. So looking at the offensive side of the ball, I think for the most part, Sam was good. He definitely missed on some throws. This was probably the most inconsistent we've seen him in a while, going back to last year. And also remember, this was the second time to face Tech in 4 games, because Texas ended the conference last year against Tech. So the second time to face them in 4 games. It was also the first road game in this weird COVID era. So I think that maybe played kind of a factor into it, just having to travel up there, right? And weird stuff happens in Lubbock anyway. So not too super surprised to see the offense maybe a little more out of sync, out of rhythm, but also keeping in mind, going back to some of the preview videos that we did here, considering the fact that, yes, every program was without a spring ball, every program was without a normal summer conditioning and even a normal fall camp, but particularly for Texas, they were trying to usher in new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and a slew of new coaches. So not only from a scheme standpoint and a strategy standpoint, but just a relationship, building relationships with the coaches and players. So that multiplies the difficulty, I think, on top of everything that everybody's going through, right? But not everybody's trying to usher in new concepts, new strategies, and new coaches either. So maybe that played a factor into it as well. Sam was at his best when it mattered most at the end of the game. I think Texas scored, 22 unanswered, obviously, including the overtime. But I thought got out to a good start with 17 points in the first quarter. Remember, the past few years, this team has not been good starting the game. So I did really like seeing that from an offensive standpoint. One of the plays that I wanted to highlight was Josh Moore's first touchdown. It came around, I think Texas was set up at the Tech 35, and Sam obviously had confidence in Josh seeing a one-on-one matchup, and Josh really just won a one-on-one jump ball, which was really cool to see. That was really kind of a Colin Johnson-like play, where Josh Moore is more of a thinner, fast twitch route runner, which is fantastic to see. But that play showed that he could jump up and high point the ball and take it away from a defender. So I thought that was awesome. Sam's running, I thought, was good. I thought he ran too much. I don't want to see Sam run that much. There was one run that he had, I think, in the second quarter that set up the rushing touchdown on the next play. He looked great. He was just weaving in and out of the defense, kind of threading the defense. So he looked really good. He's running really low to the ground with speed and power. But again, I don't want to see him run that much. I thought Keontae Ingram looked really good. He had over 7 yards a carry. Why is he not getting the ball more? Why are we not coming up with series to feed him the ball, to let him warm up and get going? I think he's the type, of course, when healthy, and right now he's healthy, he's the type that gets stronger when you feed him more. I want to see him get more touches. I think he had maybe, 9 carries, 10 carries, something like that. Roschon Johnson looked good at times. He just didn't have an efficient night. I thought the offensive line run blocking has got to improve. It just seems like they should be manhandling the defensive line more times than they are. And it also seems like there's just more of this, zone blocking, let the running back kind of pick the whole type of blocking schemes. And I don't know, maybe that's what they need right now. The weak side of the offensive line is obviously the right side with Okafor over there. And there were a couple of times where the Texas Tech front three just out-schemed and out-stunted our offensive line, which was pretty embarrassing to see. But yeah, run blocking's got to improve. Want to see the running backs run the ball more. Don't let Sam run the ball that much. Who else? Tariq Black was pretty much a no-show. He was there, just no catches. I think he was targeted 2 or 3 times, and if I remember right, they were all pretty contested targets. He had at least a DB velcroed to him each time. A couple of Sam's overthrows or kind of throwing behind the receiver. Brennan Schooler obviously won, and then he had that interception where he had to scramble out, where he was targeting Schooler and just left it short. But he also was chased out of the pocket from a 3-point or a 3-man rush, which that was crazy to see. Brennan Eagles, I thought, was good when he needed to be. Had a touchdown catch and had that crucial 2-point conversion to tie it up at the end when he was all alone out there. And apparently, as Tom Herman kind of explained, that play gives Sam and Eagles different options. And they basically just signaled to each other to see what route they want to go. And Eagles kind of faked to the corner and then cut it back inside real fast, and Sam hit him perfectly. Defensive side of the ball, I thought the down linemen actually had a pretty good game overall. I thought the middle of the defense was almost non-existent. We had guys standing around watching plays, seemed like they were kind of just being statues out there, and they were just waiting to see where they were going to go. And by that time, the ball's downfield. Jawan Mitchell has a really tough time reading pass coverage, and he just gets stuck. He seems to get stuck in the middle. So not sure how these guys are being coached up, particularly the linebackers to cover the pass. I think Jawan Mitchell is a fantastic run stopping linebacker, attacking the line of scrimmage. But when it comes to pass coverage, just crazy. On the one touchdown play to, I believe it was Vasher, who came into the middle, he basically just ran his route right between Anthony Cook and Jawan Mitchell, caught the ball, and then I think might have been B.J. Foster or Chris Brown missed the tackle and easy into the end zone. So just catching them standing around. Defensive backs, I thought, at times looked good and at times looked horrific. Chasing guys around, missing tackles. Holy crap. There was another one of Vasher's touchdowns where he basically caught the ball kind of on the sideline. Don't really remember what route he was running. And then he cuts it back inside. There's 3 Texas defenders completely surrounding him. They kind of run into each other. He keeps running to the middle. The 2 Texas safeties comes up. One of them's B.J. Foster, and he gets completely turned around. He actually literally turns around. By that time, Vasher's already headed to the end zone. It was essentially 5 missed tackles within a second. It was insane. So just a lot of crap like that. Tech's late rushing touchdown. Their running back goes off a 75-yard rushing touchdown and looks like he breaks tackles from everyone on the Texas defense, and then just heads down untouched 75 yards to go up 2 scores. So luckily they left Texas too much time, and Sam's able to take him down there, score, and then Dicker the kicker with a fantastic onside kick, had a perfect bounce, and then the Tech guy goes up to try to catch it. It bounces off his hands, goes even higher, and Malcolm Epps gets behind the Tech players to catch the ball pretty much untested, and then I believe is tackled at the Tech 40, right? So plenty of time on the clock, few more plays, and then Sam hits Josh Moore for that last touchdown, and Moore did a great job of just running pretty much a simple post route and splitting his cornerback and the safety who was in the middle of the field that just read it too late, and Sam saw it, Josh saw it, and they split them, and easy pitch and catch. So. But Moore had an awesome game. He is stepping up to be the number 1 receiver on this team at one of the outside spots. Still going to be interesting to see how, if we get some consistency from Jake Smith and Jordan Whittington once these guys get fully healthy. Jake will be back for TCU, but still interested to see what we're going to get from the H spot. Brendan Schooler obviously stepped up to fill the H spot really well. And in week 1 too, even though he's only been in the program for a month. But really happy for Josh Moore. Happy that just for his kind of second chance in the program, had his issues last year, was basically suspended the entire season, and he could have been kicked off the team. But really happy for him just coming back and really stepping up to right now being the leading receiver on the team. So that's just awesome to see. Trying to think of anything that came out of Tom Herbert's press conference today. Bijan Robinson got a few carries, not anything crazy, but strained his back. He had this weird, he tried to hurdle a guy, and he ended up with his head getting caught and just torquing his body crazy. So he came out that he just has a back strain, so he's obviously going to be incredibly sore, but nothing serious, so he should be healthy for TCU. I'm hoping to see them use Bijan a little differently. Maybe they're just kind of keeping some things under wraps right now. But I think he, being a true freshman, just needs more reps to get going. Um, I think that's going to help his timing. I've seen a few plays where it seems like he needs to hit the hole a little faster. Um, in that he's just not going to have as much time as he did in high school. But I think once he realizes when he needs to just hit the line of scrimmage faster and play with a little more attitude, run with a little more attitude, he's gonna improve a lot, and we're gonna see more of him. What else? Cade Brewer, had a couple of good catches. Tried to make a one-headed catch, kind of in a crucial part of the game that he dropped toward the sideline. Thought the tight ends might play a bigger role in the game Saturday, but that didn't happen. I thought maybe that might have been a way for kind of Sam to get his rhythm going a little more downfield. I wanted to see more passes, more hitting the receivers in stride. We saw that against UTEP just from a concept standpoint. Yes, it's UTEP, but still. I think we saw a lot more high percentage throws from Sam, a lot more kind of screens to the sides. Schooler scored on one of those, kind of easy touchdown. I think he went in untouched, so that was kind of an easy throw. So I don't know. Drop your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what plays stood out to you as frustrating, disappointing, and then any particular players that stood out to you that you thought stepped up a lot. Didn't see a whole heck of a lot from Joseph Osai, although his tackle total is always there. Chris Adamora is actually leading the team in tackles right now, and had himself a pick too, so that was cool to see. Chris Brown's pick I thought came at a pretty crucial part. I thought Tech might score on that series early in the game, so that was cool to see. But yeah, I think overall improvements with the Texas defense is they need to. It seems to me that they're reading too much. They're waiting and reading too much. So how do you fix that from a scheme standpoint? I don't know. Is it attacking more? Is it bringing in one of the defensive backs on blitzes more? Maybe. But again, Texas Tech is that type of offense, right? They're going to score points. 56 is just not acceptable. Well, although 2 came off of a blocked punt and the muff from Deshaun Jameson, right? So those are definitely some special teams craziness. I think that's the first game I've ever seen with 2 blocked punts returned for touchdowns and 2 successful onside kicks, right? 1 each for each team, which was pretty crazy. So that was crazy to see. So, I think we're learning more about this team, who they really are, right? The only way to do that is to actually play the game. Thought the boys over at Fanatic Perspective on their YouTube channel had a good point about the first 3 games in this conference, where the first game against Tech is you're facing a great offense with legit quarterback and legit wide receivers. The second game against TCU this coming Saturday, you're facing a legit defense, right? So facing one of the better offenses and then having next week facing one of the better defenses and then taking that into the Oklahoma game, who lost to Kansas State. And Kansas State even had like 4 or 5 guys out with COVID complications. So, what the hell happened there? I don't know. I watched the end of that game after Oklahoma was up by like 21, but anyway, just an interesting first three matchups for Texas, right? So facing a good offense, facing good defense, and seeing if they can learn from that and put that together against Oklahoma, because the conference is wide open. Okay, Texas needs to win it this year. Okay, no excuses, no coaching excuses, no youth excuses. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. So far it's happening. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Drop your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any. We'll try to do a TCU preview video, and then also don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Link in the description. We have nearly 60,000 Longhorns fans on the Facebook page. It's an awesome group. We put content up there all the time as well. And then definitely go to TexasHornsFans.com. Subscribe for free up there so you don't miss anything as well. And we'll see you in the next video. Welcome.